Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday, the 28th of November. So, let's kick off looking at we'll have a look at the news events for today. There's not a great deal there. We've got Lagarde speaking, it says here at 2 o'clock this morning. Well, that has happened then. It's 2 p.m., sorry. Get my PMs and AMs right way around. Okay, that's not happened yet then. And then at 5 o'clock we've got the FOMC Bullard speaking. We also have a number of other speakers. I just had a look through here. 9:30 we've got ECB speakers. 11:25. So there's quite a number of speakers coming through 2 o'clock. Lagarde. That's it. Then Fed Bullard, Fed Williams. So quite a few speakers there, which they seem to have less effect on the market. As soon as I say that, it'll probably have the biggest effect ever. Okay, so not a great deal of other news. So let's get on and have a look at the technicals. I'm looking at the euro dollar first as ever. I looked at this first thing. Well, it's about 1 o'clock this morning. I was looking at this and it looks like we were going to see a major rollover. But as it happens, not quite the case, and I'm sort of starting to look across here and think, well, maybe that's the line in the sand in terms of being a bit more bullish. It's very I'm probably a bit indecisive, but the markets look they've been to and fro-in. We sort of saw this quite strong sell-off here, as I said, through the early hours. It's bounced. And is bouncing. It's still below its daily pivot. A move back above that could look better. I've sort of got that bigger term trend line on there. There's a shorter trend line which is quite key across these highs. Oops, there we go. Across there as well. So there's a couple of areas. In fact, you could be a bit more aggressive and put the sort of initial one here, but it's going to be probably below the daily pivot. Should we be selling this with the lower highs coming through? I'm not sure personally, because you look at it on the bigger time frames and it's still got that sort of hint of bullishness, too much of a hint of bullishness. So I might be sitting out if it's not clear. Right, the pound. So the pound is just, look at this bit close better. So dailies, we know we're in higher lows, we're in this upward run. Again, look, we've got the flag pattern on the 4 hour is the 60-minute. Okay, it's come off. I mean, what a consolidated ugly old day that we saw on Friday. It had its move, it pushed back up, and it was all over the place there onwards. Must admit, at that point, well, before that point, earlier on, I did wonder if it had rolled back a little bit as well. And it could do yet this morning. We have put there's some cracks in the bigger movement. Of course, we're seeing these sort of lower highs coming through. It might be that we just see a sell-off here. This morning on them both. Now they're starting to get some volume in. We'll see what it's like post 8 o'clock. Having not hit either pivot on the euro or the pound there, if it starts selling off, well, maybe it could be an intraday short. But the bigger picture, as with the euro, I'm sort of looking at these bull flags. So mixed bag really. Dollar yen, less of a mixed bag in terms of its movement. I mean, it's been solidly moving off south there. Overnight then, I say overnight, but late on it's just sold through. It's broken its nearer term trends here. In fact, I can get rid of these others. But it's put lower highs in here. It's finding support off its daily S2. It might just run out of gas here for the day, run out of momentum. It'll be interesting to see what happens if the other markets start picking up to the upside, whether the yen will follow suit or whether it's done its move for today. But certainly, just looking at it, it's looking to continue to the downside, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people looking for divergences off this daily picture, which could be decidedly wrong things to do. Okay, so yen sort of ruling the roost a little bit this morning. Aussie dollar had sold off on the dailies here. Is showing a sell-off, a bit uglier. It's always going to be a bit weaker. At the moment, the sentiment of the bigger money is not really too Aussie positive, and the sell-off even on the hourly is much steeper over the Asian session there. It looks like, I mean, it's got an untouched daily pivot. It's way up there. Perhaps it will try and get a bit of traction and go through here again. It might have just worked its way off. It does look soft for now. I don't really want to be in that at all. Canadian dollar. So the Canadian dollar lost. US dollar CAD. This, remember, the US dollar gaining here more so. It's not a pretty picture here. This is a bit of a each way bet territory. When we start getting into this sort of movement, we could see a continued roll back. A break of these highs here around about the 34.99 area, somewhere in that region, would give us a more confirmed higher low, and maybe we'd expect something more, but I'll be surprised if we see it today. There's not a great deal of news out there. It's Cyber Monday. It's the hangover from the long weekend. We'll see what develops. Again, we saw a choppy old day on Friday. I wouldn't be so shocked if we didn't see a bit of hangover and a bit of slowness picking up. Okay, so there's the majors. Let's switch markets and have a look at the let's have a look at gold first then. And he says, so gold, it's slowed up on its bounce here. It was looking reasonably solid from the prior highs, bouncing off the prior highs, off these highs here. We're seeing a bounce. It's run through last midweek, then as we come towards the end of the week, slowing up. Doji looking a bit more bearish. This don't know, the previous shoves up seem a lot quicker than the move down in effect. I do wonder, well, have we got yet another move up there? We will, as we push back up now, probably move into sort of Gartley territory. I'm not 100% clear on it, to be fair, but it does look like it's again, it's a bit of a each way pair effectively in terms of what's running here. It's a bit like the Aussie dollar. It's neither one way or t'other in real terms, and it's really what would come off of it. Let it show its hand first. So morning Yarrow. So not a great deal there at the moment. Ritu morning, and Ian morning. Sorry. Right, let's get on. And someone asked me to look at silver on Friday. I don't know if I've got the right silver chart here. Probably not. It's CFDs on silver. Well, it'll give you a guide to where silver's running. I don't think it'll be too far out. The picture would be right. So actually, I've got a little bit too into that. That's better. Let's have a look a bigger picture. It's a bit like gold, really, an indecisive sort of move back. Very similar to gold in terms of what we're looking at. Maybe if we see a break over the highs here, we could capture the buy side of this again. It might just run up there, but it's very much either or. When I'm looking at it, it's broken the trend to put a lower high in on this 4-hourly picture. It's bouncing at the moment. If it breaks back above it, well, maybe it can push back up to the prior highs. Don't like each way bets. So oil, get oil on there. So oil selling off on more lockdowns in China. It's not helping the situation. So yeah, that's the big driver behind that at the moment. So it's really not a lot else to say there. I'm just looking at the lower time frames. It's all down. there's nothing, no happiness. It's certainly a short on retracements at the moment. Okay, moving across to the equity, the indices, and well, we saw a big gap down. No surprise for further lockdowns in China on the CSI 300, although it has managed to fill a lot of the gap that it created, and ended up not far off where it is, but still more of a bearish picture. And it does still look relatively soft there. The Nikkei, well, it too came off. It's not good news for the area. The Nifty 50, more positive at the moment. I mean, not affected obviously by that so much. So again, there's signs of growth, and off it's still running. So as I've said for a long time, it seems to be one of the leaders in the markets. Looking across to the US markets, the S&Ps, well, ended up down on Friday near the 200 from Thursday. It's sort of, but not selling. I mean, just such small days because of obviously the cash markets being closed. Perhaps we'll see something pick up this morning or today as the day sort of starts picking up. I'm just sort of looking here. The hourly doesn't look particularly pretty, but it's another one of these cases where when you pull out to the 4 hourly, well, it's still in. Well, it looks like it's still in some sort of trend. It's just pop that across to that low. Oh, come on. Why did charting page, look, it's flicking. It won't let me get the right point. There we go. Did that on purpose. So yeah, it's still above this sort of near-term trend. It's I mean, it's rolling out little in the way of action there, but it was through a closed cash market time frame. As I said, it's really a case of looking for what's going on today. Other markets there at the moment. Let's just come back out to the dailies for now on these. The Dow Jones, more positive futures closes there Thursday, Friday. As I said, not expected very much, off a little bit at the moment, but still looking very bullish in terms of the overall picture here. And the Nasdaq, well, Nasdaq, if things start crashing, this is the place to go for the US markets to look for the shorts. Looking a bit on the softer side at the moment. It's much more of an each way bet, and it certainly looks softer across the time frames here. Big gap down there to this current week. So yeah, generally I'm sort of bullish on the US markets, but if they do roll a little bit more, I'll look to the Nasdaq on the short side. Looking nearer home, the DAX. So the DAX off a little bit this morning, little gap down. It's really, well, following the suit of the US markets in a sense. Very choppy towards the end of the last week. Thursday, Friday, really not seeing any direction there, chopping along, and well, it's okay. It's gapped down a little bit this morning. Chopping along at the moment. I'd wait for something a little bit clearer to show its hand. Overall, bigger picture, it's been looking pretty bullish, so I'd err on the bullish side still yet so far. FTSE not quite open yet, but it's a quick look at FTSE. Okay, so the FTSE, this is the cash market. Friday opening, closing up positive again. Most of these equity markets are still looking bullish at the moment. Coming across to the crypto markets, well, that was it still is, but not by quite so much. I was looking at the Bitcoin. It's not having the greatest of times still. It's still looking soft. I was looking at it first thing this morning and noticed that there's this large sell-off here. I do wonder if we're going to, the way it's so flimsy, whether we will see a breakdown of these lows and eventual rollover down further. Sorry to be a bit pessimistic on it, but perhaps I shouldn't leave cryptos till the end really. But to me, it's a sort of bear flag territory on the short time frames here. Bigger time frames just looking really soft. Litecoin was the light in the things, but even that Sunday today, it's rolled off. Other markets, Cardano, it's near enough at its lows. BNB, okay, that pitched up a little bit last week, but again, Sunday today, it's off. And the majority of them are looking weak. We've not seen the end of the fallout, I guess, and we've seen a continuation of the effects of a exchange going crash bang wallop. Okay, on that cheerful note, I will leave you with it, and I wish you a great day's trading. And let's just have a look here. Sorry, on the SPY would be the next pivot to bounce from. I haven't got the SPY on here. I've got the ES. So you'll have a different price level. Where is it going to be bouncing from? Let's just answer that question if I can. Well, I would not necessarily look at the pivots for its bounce from. I mean, it's already it's nicely into its weekly. If you're looking for something to bounce lower, maybe the weekly S1 there, but daily wise, it's already down to its daily S3. It's bouncing from here. Really had quite a relative sell-off in the short term, but bigger term still looking good. I mean, if it's going to break through these areas, obviously S4 sitting there, but you've got the trend line and everything else sitting there. That might just be a buy opportunities, but I'd wait until it's actually shown its hand here. There we go. Anyway, on that lovely note, I wish you a great day's trading, and I'll catch you in tomorrow. There we go. Job done.